So are you excited for the white zombies that are coming in Amonkhet?
White zombies? Um,
All these entombed creatures? Or embalmed creatures?
Embalmed creatures. Yeah, I mean it's interesting. I haven't seen any that I like really like though.
I like them all in limited. I think that ability is insane in limited.
Oh yeah, it's definitely good.
Like even the 1/1 lifelink that embalms for one. I mean that's just unreasonable. Like you get to spend all your mana every time.
Yeah, I don't think that's a reasonable card in limited,
All right.
but
Right. So
could be wrong.
I'll
I don't
say
know
that
the whole
with
format.
I'll say that with reservations is we don't know the rest of the set, but I can definitely imagine a format where that is very good. Like ancient crabs in the format, so like if a 1/5 for 3 is good.
I mean, a 1/5 is much better than a 1/1.
But it lifelinks against these aggressive decks.
Yeah, so you gain a life 2 times.
Alright, we're gonna. Yeah, creatures in back is the worst, guys. Just so you know.
Lands in front is the worst.
Yeah, lands in front's the worst. I I think it's borderline obscuring the game state.
Oh yeah,
To be personally honest.
and the number of times where like I'm playing against an opponent who's very clearly playing counter spells in their deck, and I have to ask them to move their damn hand so I can see their lands is astounding. I'm just like, move your hands. Like
And,
this is
and
really important.
additionally, don't stack your lands on top of each other.
Oh yeah.
The worst. Spread that out. I'm so beside myself. I'm trying not to curse.
Bring in the beats. I don't know if that's a good trade-off there, but you know what? Thought Not Seer, Path, Reality Smasher, and Thought Not Seer. Wow. That's a good hand.
Wow. Yeah. So I'd probably take. Let's see. 2 paths here's probably fine. I guess he has reality. I would take the Thought Not Seer. He can't cast any of these cards except for the paths. Is worth noting. Because he doesn't have any colorless lands.
Right.
That being said, colorless land is probably the most abundant of lands in his deck. So I don't know that you want to be like banking on that.
Oh man, this bird is gonna bring the beats.
I don't think Tyler cares. I think what's going to happen here is he's going to play a land and a reality smasher. He's going to say, oh, that's a nice reality you have there. It would be a shame if somebody smashed it. So in this beginning phase of the game, especially in the mirror here, what you want to do, this is both in general in the Bant Eldrazi decks, but also in specific to the mirror.
Does not play the Reality Smasher. That's interesting.
Right, I don't think that's the right line. I think what you want to do at the beginning phase of the game here, meaning I'm judging it by how many cards the players have in their hands.
Okay.
Because neither of these decks plus themselves on card advantage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Ancient Stirrings is their card selection, but that doesn't yield you an additional card.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at how many cards you have in hand, that's how you can tell what phase of the game we're in. So while players still have 4 or more cards in hand, I would say we're in the early phase of the game. As you move into the later phase of the game, players will have 0 to 2 cards in hand. Maybe most likely lands that they've drawn that they're trying to bluff you on being Path to Exiles. But in the early phase, what you want to do is you want to press any advantage you have. if you figured out like where you have a little bit of an advantage, I would take every chance I get to press that advantage.
Yeah, so now when Brewster untaps, if he draws a colorless land, he's going to get to Reality Smasher first. His Reality Smasher is going to be a 7/7.
Yeah. Whereas Tyler here, if he would have just played Reality Smasher, attacked with it, Brewster would have had to probably cast both Path to Exiles, discarding 2 cards out of his hand, and seeing as how he only has 3 now, he would be down to 1 card in hand. The type of card selection that Tyler has at that point is, I mean, out of like the 5 possible cards, he gets to play a much more broad game, whereas Brewster's like hoping that this Reality Smasher with 2 Exalted triggers is enough.
Yeah.
Note, probably isn't going to be.
Oh, you don't think it's good enough?
On this board with an opponent with 5 cards in hand, I would not be counting on. I would not be counting on
Pathing his own
a
bird. Does he have a
Reality
waste?
Smasher. So we're counting on a waste to happen here. I'm gonna be impressed if he does, because that's a tight. He does. All right, that's a tight play, and that's not a standard deck building choice. So Brewster is using his specific build. To his advantage here, so now he gets to smash realities. All right, so Tyler is just more than happy to see this, though, because
I think Brewster's got a nice one in hand.
you think he has another path?
I think he has a worship in hand.
Oh, jeez.
That's not one you want to see.
No.
On the other side of the board.
No, I'm not excited about worship being like a thing. Especially if Tyler attacks back at him here, and then he untaps, attacks, casts worship. Then Tyler's in a very tough spot. Is that a?
It's a Gideon Jura.
Gideon Jura? So we can destroy a tapped creature?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Oh, absolutely you may. Read all of them. So I'm pretty sure the minus on this is destroy target tapped creature?
It is.
The plus is forcing a creature to attack you. Yes.
All creatures an opponent controls to attack Gideon.
Creatures that player can... Oh, wow, this card... This is awesome. This card actually plays around worship. It actually lets Tyler orchestrate situations where he can beat a worship.
Does it?
Yeah, so what you would do is like, so either, so say you plus it, right? On Brewster's next turn, he's going to have to tap his Hierarchs to not force them to attack and get blocked by like Scion tokens.
Right.
And then he gets to like pick off these Hierarchs one at a time. Oh, yeah. Tyler's got a nice one here. Reality Smasher down, but that doesn't matter. This Eldrazi Displacer...
Would you have taken the Reality Smasher over the Displacer there?
I personally would not have.
Okay. Yeah, it seems a bit suspect. When you're at 12 life and you have a worship in hand.
Alright. So I think the play here is to play your Displacer plus your Gideon. And sit back and see what Brewster's made of here. You're gonna get to block a lot. Let's see, Reality Smasher is not the operative card here. I think this is the card.
Oh man, if he gets this Thought Nuts here, that's a big deal. Ooh, opting instead for the Drowner?
Oh yeah, see that's where you want to be. So Reality Smasher is the best card in the deck, but it's not the best card in this situation.
Sure.
Drowner's way better here, especially when you have a Displacer in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
You just, I mean, talk about generating some tokens.
Doing it. Looks like he's getting the worship out.
Doing it and doing it well. See, I would still take the Displacer here. Because the Gideon can orchestrate a situation where, like I explained, the worship is irrelevant.
Yeah, I think that's a very long-term plan, though. And it's pretty difficult to do if he has any trick. Because Gideon has to -2 every time he wants to do that.
I think if you let him have a Displacer on the board, it's way better than any it's way better than any, tricks he can draw. I mean, Path to Exile is the only other card that's like meh. And that
Sure.
only gets it once, but a Displacer can lock down and control the board for many turns.
Right, but there's also likely only one worship in his deck, but many Displacers. I think a worship is much harder to fight through than a Displacer here, especially since you have your own.
Alright, so Displacer taps the final creature. Gideon becomes a dude and attacks in. So that was an interesting match, an interesting random match.
Yeah. We had some interesting sideboard choices, at least. It's pretty cool.
I did like the worship. I like the one basic waste. That's a cool addition. I'm not sure where I would fit it. There's one flex spot in most lists that's a Ghost Quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's value in making that a waste. I'll think about it.
I wouldn't think too hard about it.
All right. Don't think too hard about coming back to see us in round 2 either, because we're going to have some hot modern action for you coming up here in
Super hot.
about 20, 25 minutes.
Yep. See you then.